Hello and welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute-a-day podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse, recorded here in the dining room of the Bible Bistro, located in Sharonville, Ohio. Hey there friends, welcome back to Daily Dose Radio here in the Bible Bistro. And today in the Bible Bistro, we are looking at verses 3 and 4 in Psalm 25. This is a prayer of the church and the first of the alphabetic or acrostic psalms. So we began yesterday with verses 1 and 2, today 3 and 4. We're going to talk a little bit about the enemy today. Don't let the enemy rejoice because of me is the way verse 2 ended. And I forgot to mention yesterday how that reminds me of Psalm 69, which I've dubbed the pastor's prayer. And in Psalm 69, we hear this, the psalmist is praying, "Let not them that wait on thee, O Lord God of hosts, be ashamed for my sake. Let not those that seek thee be confounded for my sake, O God of Israel." It always makes me think that perhaps not only is this dealing treacherously and in vanity, these enemies, that they, not only have they captured me or they have trapped me or whatever, they've got me in their little gin, their little device, whatever it was, but also I don't want to give them cause to rejoice because I've done something foolish and now they're outlining my hypocrisy before the world. I think that's part of this as well. Don't let them rejoice because of me. Here in, verse 6 of Psalm 69, we have pretty much the same thing. Don't let those that wait on thee, O Lord, be ashamed for my sake. This is I've dubbed this the pastor's prayer in Psalm 69. Well, here we have it in Psalm 25. Don't let my enemies rejoice. And then we have verse 3, and I'm going to read verse 3 here in Psalm, I closed my Bible up. Here we go, Psalm 25. David writes these words, "Yea, let none that wait on thee be ashamed. Let them be ashamed which transgress without cause. Show me thy ways, O Lord. Teach me thy paths." All those that wait on thee, don't let them be ashamed. So again, I think, we have that same idea that perhaps there's something that could happen, but he's praying that it wouldn't happen, that the devices of the enemies would be broken, and that those that wait on the Lord would find victory in this life. Now, they're going to find victory eventually, but they would find victory in this life. Don't put them to shame. And of course, over in 69, it's don't let me cause them shame. Here it's don't put them to shame because they wait on you. And then he ends that in verse 3 by saying, those who deal treacherously, or those which transgress without cause, make them ashamed. Let that come upon them. And then he ends this by saying, your ways, O Lord, cause me to know. Teach me your ways. That's my translation. Verse 4 in the King James says, show me thy ways, O Lord, teach me thy paths. I really like the way the King James here uses these two translations, thy paths and thy ways. I just translated them both ways, but I really, as I read this, my own translation, I realize that it would be better to translate that second one, paths. There's so much here. This idea of the way, or your way, which is what David says here in verse 4, your ways, O Lord. The Lord's way is one of the themes in the first half of this psalm. We find the Lord's way mentioned here in verse 4. We're going to find it again there in verse 8. We're going to find it again there in verse 10. So the way of the Lord is very important, and he sort of tells us what the way of the Lord is. So tomorrow we're going to find out what it is. So he asks this, he says, teach me or cause me to know and show me your paths. So he wants the Lord to teach him and to show him his ways, his paths. Now tomorrow we're going to actually define what the way and the path of the Lord is. The psalmist gives it to us right here in these verses. So I hope you'll join me then as we look at the way and the path of the Lord here on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. For more fresh and delicious Bible studies, podcasts, books, and more, Check out the Bible Bistro online and on YouTube. Join me again next time for Daily Dose Radio.